The Glasshouse, really, I started in 1998, and it was a time when I'd worked in the city, I'd worked in consulting and a big fancy career, and like many of my colleagues, I wanted to do something else and something more, and it seemed to me like a whole bunch of us at that time were moving on from city or corporate or a more traditional life and starting our own businesses. And so I asked, I think it was 6 friends to join me in a bar and for a drink and share experiences, and 60 people turned up on the first night. And we're like, wow, we're on something. And I was so naive, I had no idea what I was doing, and some guy came up to me and he said, I'll sponsor this. And I was like, what sponsorship? Now I'd be like, yeah, go sign on the dotted line, but now I didn't know. And it just grew and grew and grew. And then from there, we used to run events like this regularly in London, and then as our members from London moved into different cities, we expanded to Prague and San Francisco and New York and Sydney, and even tonight we've had 2 people come to us and say we want to do it in Boston, we want to do it in Stockholm. And when you hit on something that really supports entrepreneurs, sure as damn it, you find an entrepreneur who wants to help take that into a different market or a different country. And so that's how we expanded, really. Creative nation, and we're a nation that wants to be quirky and wants to try something new. We really are a nation of inventors, but I think until now we probably haven't been as collectively as a country confident about creating the businesses that change the world. And what I see happening at the moment is, as more and more businesses cluster together, and London is one example of that, but there's many more. There's a games cluster up in Scotland. Manchester is a great hub, Cambridge is a great hub, Bath is a great hub, Newcastle is a great hub. You've got lots of clusters of entrepreneurs getting together, and when you get those entrepreneurs getting together, I think that generates a confidence in an ecosystem where entrepreneurs support each other, and that really encourages a step change in the quality and the quantity of businesses that are being born. And for me, I'm really excited about that. I think the best entrepreneurs, the ones that really win, are the ones who really have a grit and a determination and a perseverance about them. And we heard that tonight with Michael, and actually nearly every single successful entrepreneur we've interviewed at Glasshouse, whether that's Jimmy Wales of Wikipedia or the founders of Craigslist or Nicholas Enstrom of Skype or Michael Birch from Bebo, all went through a moment of, I think, personal and financial hardship that most normal people would have found hard to bear. And what they believed in was a vision for their company that was bigger than all of that personal hardship, and they carried on. So for me, the defining factor about an entrepreneur is courage and grit and perseverance. And I think we're getting more and more of those types of people in the UK. In terms of mistakes, I think one that I'm quite passionate about is I've seen, and I think this is changing now in the UK, but until recently we had an emerging kind of funding scene. So we've had good investors in London really for the last 10-12 years, but there weren't lots of them, and it wasn't easy to get money at an early stage. And I think some of the mistakes that entrepreneurs have made early on have been maybe taking the wrong investor or taking too much money at the wrong valuation. And I think that's changing now. There's much more competition in terms of investors. It doesn't cost as much money to start a business anymore. Sometimes actually people don't even need to take investors' money to grow a world-beating business. And so I think that's improving all the time. I think other mistakes entrepreneurs make, I think not realising how much grit and perseverance it really takes. I mean, and sometimes maybe giving up because they think if they're finding it hard that maybe the others who've gone before them didn't. And actually, for me, that's why when we run Glasshouse events, we want to make sure that the entrepreneurs talk about the real story and how hard it was, so that other people who are following in their footsteps can take heart from that and not give up. And I've talked to a lot of people who run events in the UK, and most of us, actually, when it comes down to it, are probably funding these events from our own personal pockets because we believe it's the right thing to do. So this event lost money. It's been a great creative success, but it lost us a lot of money. And I think if you believe that it's the right thing to do, you keep going, and at some point you know it follows through. And in terms of being able to find the right sponsors, what we've found has been the right success is get brilliant entrepreneurs, get brilliant members, put on a fantastic evening that really helps the ecosystem. When you have a reputation for doing that, many more, and it's increasing all the time, many more companies want to support that because they really understand the power of this new generation that's coming through. And so once you build a reputation, it's much easier, and we've been very lucky with the sponsors we've had tonight.
Thank you so much.
You guys are great.
Thank you very much.